It was like my wife chopped my manhood off with a butcher knife. Hi, I'm Jason, and the story I'm going to share with you today is incredibly painful and embarrassing. It has to do with the way my erectile dysfunction shamed, humiliated, and almost ruined my entire marriage and life. Now, the only reason I'm willing to tell you about this is because my horrible and ongoing humiliation ultimately led me to the real root cause behind ED, which has nothing to do with low testosterone levels, according to research from Columbia University and various Ivy League universities. If you are taking testosterone supplements to eliminate your ED, most likely you have been lied to. And more importantly, in this video, you're about to discover how I managed to cure my ED for good within hours. Without 1. Male enhancement supplements. 2. Expensive heart-destroying drugs like Viagra, which is nothing for the real cause of ED. 3. Or paying $2,000 for ineffective low-T therapy. Giving me the ability to enjoy full, long-lasting erections literally on demand. And giving my wife back the vital and powerful man she had been so desperately longing for and missing for more than a decade. After applying the method for yourself, you'll begin experiencing the most powerful, long-lasting, and full erections of your life, no matter what age you are, whether you struggle with full-blown ED, or just want to add a surge of vitality to your sex life. Now, if you're thinking this sounds crazy or too good to be true, I completely understand. I used to be just like you, thinking the only possible way to address my ED was by paying thousands of dollars per year to big drug conglomerates like Pfizer, even as they continue to make billions of dollars off of our embarrassing and anxiety-causing situation. So all I ask right now is that you stick with me for the next 5 minutes as I give you the science behind the ED curing method I'll be sharing in this video, and show you why the secret method that Big Pharma would absolutely kill to keep you from knowing can ultimately and rapidly give you the life-changing confidence of naturally enjoying erections on demand. That's exactly what's already happened for 97,921 across America. People like Mark P. of Gulf Breeze, Florida, who says, "Hearing that there was a completely natural way of getting an erection whenever I wanted, without taking pills, seemed pretty unbelievable to me. After all, I could cure my ED without anything but some grocery store items. Why didn't I already know about this?" Well, because I was getting tired of spending $10 per pill on the pharmaceutical ED drugs, and because my love life had been suffering pretty mightily as a consequence of that decision, I decided to say, what the hell, and give your method a try. Jason, I'm so glad I did. Within 48 hours, I was getting the fullest, most powerful erections of my life. I'm not kidding, it was incredible. Now my wife can't keep her hands off of me, and that's not a problem at all because I can respond to her as many times as I want, even several times a day. And Raymond Maddox of Virginia Beach, Virginia, who says, "Before I found your website, I was miserable. To say my sex life with my wife has been bad would be the understatement of the century. It was more or less non-existent. The problem was that I couldn't take ED pills because of some chest pains I'd had in the past, and they left me with few other options. I tried some herbal extracts that they sell in this men's health section of the pharmacy, but when I looked at the ingredients, I realized they were nothing but a bunch of scary chemicals that were also side effect heavy. That's what makes the natural ED curing method you share in your presentation so special. I don't have to go buy any weird pills. I simply follow it and get results. Really massive results, if you catch my drift. It saved my marriage and has given me my wife back. Thanks." And Luke McGraw of Joplin, Missouri, who writes, "As a recently divorced man, being intimate for the first time with a woman other than my ex was incredibly nerve-wracking. I'd hoped that maybe when the time actually came, I'd forget all about that and I'd be fine, but I wasn't. On 3 different occasions, I had a woman I was dating want to get intimate with me, and in each of these cases, I simply was too nervous and anxious to perform. It was humiliating, and with each failure, I became even more terrified that it would happen again the next time, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why I was so blown away when I watched your video and discovered that there was a simple way to guarantee that my member would always be ready to perform, even if I was super nervous and afraid. I started doing exactly what you said to do in the presentation, and sure enough, the very next time I had an intimate encounter, I had no trouble getting it up, even though I was really nervous. I'm so relieved to know that no matter what happens, I'll still be able to perform. Now I no longer feel anxious, and I can enjoy sex and have fun, which is the way it's supposed to be. Thanks, Jason. Those are just a few of the almost 100,000 people who have already used what they learned in this video to permanently cure their ED and gain erections on demand, often in as little as 48 hours. Now I'm going to explain exactly how the method I've discovered works in just a second. But before I do, I know you're probably extremely curious about who I am and how I know what I know. Well, as I said, my name is Jason Long. I'm 56 years old and I live in Long Beach, California. And about 4 years ago, my wife cut off my penis with a razor-sharp butcher's knife. It happened on her 50th birthday, May 13th, 2010. As you can perhaps imagine, she was less than thrilled with the idea of turning 50 and had been acting depressed about the whole thing for the last several months. I hated seeing her so miserable, and so I'd put aside an entire month's salary to buy her a pair of exquisite diamond earrings, which I hoped would help her feel better. Originally, my plan was to give her these earrings when I took her out to dinner that night. But as the workday dragged on, I became more and more anxious to give her the present I'd spent so much money on, and to see her smile. So at around 2:30 p.m., I left work and headed home to surprise her. I parked out on the street so that she wouldn't hear my car and know I was home. Then, as quiet as a mouse, I snuck through the side door, through the family room and towards the kitchen. But something wasn't right. From the kitchen, I heard my wife sobbing. It startled me and caused me to pause for a moment. And then I heard her say the words that hurt me more than anything else I'd ever experienced in my life, either physically or emotionally. She was on the phone with her best friend Pam, and what she was talking about was me. "Of course I love him," she said. "We've been married for 28 years. It's not a matter of love. It's a matter of how unfulfilled I am. He just can't perform like he used to, you know? He rarely wants to have sex anymore, and I think it's because he's afraid he won't be able to get an erection even if he wants to. I don't know if it's because he isn't attracted to me anymore or what. It makes me feel ugly and unwanted, and now I no longer want to even try to have sex with him. But maybe it's not me. He's getting older. I think part of it is that he's just not the man he used to be. I guess it's something I need to deal with, that I'll be sexually frustrated and unfulfilled for the rest of my life. And of course it's upsetting because deep down I do know that I am still attractive. To be honest, other men approach me and hit on me all the time. Obviously I'd never do anything, but I can't say I don't like the attention. And even more than that, I can't help but wonder what it would be like to be with a real man who had a strong sex drive. A man who didn't have to worry about even getting an erection in the first place. A man who could really satisfy me, rather than Jason. It felt as if she just chopped off my manhood. It was that excruciatingly painful. Slowly, I crept back out of the house, got back in my car, drove to the nearest shopping center, and sat in the parking lot for more than 2 hours, tears in my eyes, struggling to breathe. To hear her talk that way was shocking, but the more I thought about it and the more honest with myself that I was, the more I realized I shouldn't have been so surprised. What she was saying was true. I've been having a harder and harder time getting and maintaining an erection over the past few years. The ED pills I used did help some, but they came with so many negative drawbacks. For one thing, they were incredibly expensive. I was paying $7.50 or more a dose, which worked out to hundreds of dollars a month and thousands of dollars per year. Spare cash I simply didn't have laying around. That's not to mention the embarrassment of buying those pills in the first place, or the fact that they gave me stomach cramps, nausea, and other side effects. I felt like I either had to force myself to have sex with my wife or avoid it entirely. And because my confidence was so shaken, I became more and more afraid of being intimate. I didn't want to use pills, but it seemed like my most important part just wouldn't work without them, which left both me and my wife feeling extremely unsatisfied. Now, I should mention really quickly that it wasn't always like this. In my 20s, I've been well known for my vigor and vitality. I could go all night, and both the women I was with before getting married and my wife afterwards would comment on how much they loved being intimate with me. I don't know about you, but for me, having sex on a daily or bi-daily basis, being able to last as long as I wanted and to give my lover multiple orgasms, had always been a huge point of pride. So what the hell happened? How did I go from a rock star in the bedroom to a total dud? Was it just aging? Was something wrong with me? I really didn't know, which is why after hearing my wife on the phone, I made the desperate decision to spend every waking moment of my time looking for a solution for my erectile dysfunction. Studying how things like Viagra and other prescription pills for ED really worked, and exploring any possible alternatives that wouldn't make me sick, nauseous, and broke. I conducted all of this research in utter secrecy, coming home from work around 5:30 p.m. and locking myself in the office until well after midnight. And during this time, my relationship with my wife suffered even more. She didn't know what I was doing, and even though I made up all kinds of excuses and white lies, she was growing more and more scared that I was hiding from her because I no longer loved her. The best I could do was reassure and continue on. I told myself that if I could figure something out, some natural way to cure my ED, it would all be worth it. Because no matter what people say, you already know that sex is a vital component of your relationship at any age. It's what brings you and your loved one together. It strengthens your relationship. And it lets her know that you are just as crazy about her now as you were on the first day you asked her out. Well, at first, my research moved extremely slowly, and there were a lot of dead ends. I looked at low-T therapies and realized they were basically worthless when it comes to helping with ED. That's because despite what the radio and TV ads say, or what other doctors will tell you, according to Columbia University Department of Urology, only 5% of all ED cases come from low testosterone. Plus, even if I did happen to be in the tiny minority of people whose ED would be helped by low-T injections or treatments, I would have to pay about $250 per injection, more than $2,000 over the course of a full treatment cycle. And that still didn't take into consideration the fact that scientists are increasingly linking low-T injections and gels to prostate cancer and heart attacks, causing FDA to consider banning them. Of course, I looked at standard erectile dysfunction pills like Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, along with a dozen less well-known ones. But besides the fact that they were all incredibly expensive and that I'd already experienced some of the less serious side effects when using these medications in the past, there were just so many other severe, life-threatening side effects associated with these drugs that using them terrified me. Take a look for yourself. And that's just a partial list of those side effects. I also looked at exercising because I'd always read that doing cardio was important for blood circulation. But the link between exercise and the ability both to get and maintain erections at will is non-existent. I mean, think about it. There's definitely no exercise that's specifically designed to help with your ED, right? So while going to the gym might be food for me overall, it definitely wasn't going to provide the solution I was looking for. By the end of my first month of research, all I had to show for my efforts was a sense of hopelessness and the desire to give up. I started to think that maybe I was just destined to live out the rest of my life in sexual frustration. That maybe I should accept the fact that my wife might leave me, or have an affair. In my most depressed moments, I thought maybe I should even tell her to go cheat on me, so that at least it wouldn't be a shock to me when she did it anyways. But then I remembered the phone conversation I'd overheard. The way she cried. How she no longer felt like I was a real man. How humiliated I was. And I knew that I had to do absolutely everything in my power to reclaim my vitality, regain my self-respect, and save my marriage, both for my wife and for me. So I kept pushing forward and kept digging deeper and deeper. And thank God I did, because even though I didn't know it at the time, the breakthrough I'd been praying for was right around the corner. Something that would ultimately give me the ability to achieve powerful and long-lasting erections virtually on demand. And that has since helped more than 97,000 people to experience the exact same incredible results. So first, let me tell you quickly how this revelation came about. After a frustrating first month of studying ED, medications, low-T treatments, exercise programs, and even over-the-counter extracts like X-Tens and Vital Male, I decided that I needed to go back to basics and spend less time looking at the treatments for ED and more time looking at what actually causes our erection issues in the first place. So I began studying everything from biology and anatomy textbooks to academic journals, medical articles, and published studies. And that's when things really started to click for me. You see, I realized that despite what Big Pharma and the supplement manufacturers want you to think, ED really isn't a big mystery. It's actually really straightforward, and I'll tell you why right now. First, without getting too high school sex ed on you, let's look at how an erection actually works. We'll call the next 10 seconds Erection 101. And here we go. 1. Your penis has two chambers inside of it, and they are collectively referred to as the corpora cavernosa. The corpora cavernosa runs the length of the organ and contains a maze of blood vessels shaped like cavernous spaces. When the blood vessels of the corpora cavernosa relax and open up, blood rushes in through the arteries to fill them. That blood then gets trapped under high pressure, creating an erection. Easy, right? The blood vessels in your penis relax and open up. Blood rushes in and gets trapped in your penis, and the pressure causes an erection. That's basically all that an erection is. Now, the reason I just told you all of this is that unless you understand how an erection works, you won't be able to understand the biology behind ED. So let's give you another quicker primer, and we'll call this one ED 101. Don't worry, this one is even easier to understand, I promise. 1. In cases where you're struggling to get an erection, maintain an erection, or where the erection you get is somewhat flimsy and less than full. 2. The vessels in your penis aren't relaxing fully, which means blood can't get into your penis and cause an erection. That's it. Seriously, that's the one cause of virtually all erection issues, period. It's not mental. Scientific researchers at Columbia and other Ivy League universities have already proven that in study after study. It's simply an issue of the vessels in your member not letting blood flow in. Now, this is all fairly common knowledge, although again, the multi-billion-dollar erectile dysfunction industry wishes it wasn't. They want you to believe that erection issues are something that can't be helped unless you take their insanely expensive and heart attack-causing pills. But the more I started thinking about this, the less sense it made to me why we would need to depend on pills or medications. There's got to be a natural way to relax those blood vessels, I thought to myself. And with that, I began digging through 2,000 years of ancient remedies. I made an exhaustive list of weird but supposed aphrodisiacs, like deer antlers, water lilies, and eel. And I used myself as a human guinea pig, testing virtually every single option available to me. Well, I'm sorry to say that most of the ancient herbal remedies I tried didn't seem to do anything but make me anxious, sweaty, and nauseous. Those included both the herbal blends you can order online and a lot of strange extracts you can buy at the health food store. I also tried Eastern breathing exercises, meditation, and yoga. Those things relaxed me some, but certainly didn't help me get or maintain erections. So it was another dead end when it came to all of the ancient Eastern medicine and herb things. But rather than give up, I next shifted my focus to modern-day biology. And through seemingly endless research, I began to realize that there were literally dozens of enzymes, amino acids, and other natural chemicals that are either already inside of our bodies or that are contained in many common foods and supplements you can buy at the supermarket. That have been scientifically proven in study after study to relax blood vessels in your body while increasing blood volume. All of which meant that if I could find the right combination of these naturally occurring biological building blocks and figure out how to get them into my body in the correct way, it only made sense that they would immediately improve my ability to generate and maintain erections, both in the short term and in the long term. Because remember, all it takes to get an erection is relaxed blood vessels, which then allow the blood to flow in and create pressure in your member. So I write out all of those foods and supplements that I researched, the ones that contained the different enzymes and amino acids that were shown to relax blood vessels and increase blood flow, and I went shopping. And that very first night, I started testing out different dietary combinations and writing down each one in my journal. Well, as you can probably guess by now, the going was slow, and I initially tried out somewhere between 40 and 50 different food supplement combinations with zero noticeable results. But even though I wasn't getting the results I felt like I should have, I kept pushing forward. After all, it just made too much sense why this should work, and I really had zero other options. And then on August 20th, 2010, it happened. I was sitting at my computer desk, writing down the food supplement combination I planned to try for the following day, when I suddenly realized that I was getting extremely hard. Within a minute, I had one of the largest, most swollen erections I'd ever had in my life, even stronger than when I was a teenager. And you're going to laugh, but the first thing I did was run to the kitchen and find my wife. She didn't know what the hell was going on or what had gotten into me, but I was so insistent that we go to the bedroom, and she was probably so relieved that I was actively trying to be intimate with her that she didn't complain. And over the next hour, we proceeded to have what was hands down the best sex we'd had in 20 years. I was pulsing the entire time, and she could feel it. And once we were done, she asked me what had happened. Did I take Viagra or some other ED drug? No, I told her. And that's when I finally decided to tell her everything I'd been doing. I told her about her conversation that I'd overheard, how it had humiliated me and made me feel awful, how I'd been so desperate to regain my vitality so that I could be intimate with her again and satisfy her again, and this was the reason I'd been locking myself in the study each night. Well, at first she was mad that I hadn't even been honest with her, but as I continued to explain all of the efforts I'd gone through, her anger quickly turned to understanding and appreciation. And after about 30 minutes of talking, she turned to me with a wry smile and said, "Okay, let's test out your discovery again." To be honest, I was kind of nervous when she said that because even though I'd been incredibly hard the first time we'd made love, I was far from certain that I'd be able to repeat those sorts of results just 30 minutes after finishing. The moment she kissed me, however, I became rock hard again, and all of my nervousness quickly went out the window. And after another lovemaking session that night and 2 more the following morning, I finally got myself out of bed, returned to my office, and looked through my journal. I needed to play detective because even though I'd had such incredible results the previous night, I'd also been trying a lot of different combinations, and so I wasn't exactly sure which one had been the miracle game changer I'd been praying for. Fortunately, however, it didn't take me long to find out. I simply repeated the one I'd used the day before, having a small snack with the foods that contained the amino acids and enzymes I'd wanted, and then taking one easy-to-find supplement that contained another important amino acid. Sure enough, that evening as I was eating dinner with my wife, I suddenly got another huge, powerful erection. Now, I'll spare you the details, but let's just say that for the next 30 days, there was really only one activity that my wife and I were doing in our spare time. And I was continuously amazed, thrilled and ecstatic by the fact that every single time my wife or I wanted to be intimate, I could get a powerful and completely full erection within a matter of seconds. Plus, what was cool is that I realized it wasn't just one single food item that was curing my AD, it was the specific amino acids, enzymes, and proteins that they contain. Which meant even if I switched things up and tried different combinations of these foods and supplements, the results were still incredibly consistent and impressive. To be honest, I actually started to get these erections too often. I'd just be sitting there, at work, typing away at my computer when bam, I'd be getting rock hard. So I had to even modify the food supplement plan I was following and actually reduce my intake. That wasn't very hard though when I wrote down the results again in my journal. My buddies started wondering about my renewed energy, how I seemed so happy all of the time, how I was more confident than I'd been in years. They asked me what was going on. Had I tried a low-T therapy or something, or been working out more? Now, while it was a little embarrassing, I was so proud of my discovery that I figured, what the hell, and shared my secret. It was funny, but pretty much every single one of them immediately wanted to try out my erection formula for themselves. So I wrote out everything in a comprehensive but easy-to-follow guide. I told them which of the amino acids, enzymes, and proteins they needed to add to their diet, and a list of foods and supplements that contained each of them. I gave them instructions for how to combine everything for maximum absorption into the body, which to have on a full stomach and which to have on an empty stomach, and even instructions for how to modify the system for their own personal needs, so that they wouldn't need to worry about walking around with a constant erection, but could just get one whenever they wanted. Some of my friends were pretty skeptical at first because it seemed almost too easy. But sure enough, within about 48 hours of trying my all-natural erection formula for themselves, every single one of them was either calling me or emailing me to share their shock at how well it had worked. My friend, Mike, actually was in tears as he told me he'd been suffering of ED for the last 8 years, and that he couldn't take drugs because of a heart condition. He talked about how miserable he'd been, how his relationship with his wife had become a cold and sterile living hell, and how the homemade cure I'd given him had been like a miracle, giving him the best sex of his life within the first 12 hours of trying it. Other friends who said they didn't even have issues with getting or maintaining an erection and that they just started out of curiosity told me they were incredibly glad they had. They said that even though they could already get erections, they'd never had anything close to the ones they were having now, ones that were so incredibly full that increased their stamina and their sex drive dramatically and that allowed them to last for hours. And as more and more of my friends discreetly shared it with more and more of their friends, and as more and more people called me or sent me an email to thank me and to say that this changed their life, I realized that despite the fact that it was sort of an uncomfortable thing for me to talk about, I needed to get what I discovered to as many other guys as possible. Which brings us to the reason I made this website and the presentation you're watching right now. You see, at first I thought about trying to sell this natural home formula I concocted to a pharmaceutical company, or a manufacturer or non-prescription male enhancement products. But there was no way Pfizer or any other drug manufacturer would be open to sharing what I discovered with the world. After all, they didn't want to cure you of your ED. They want you to keep buying their drugs so they can keep making billions off of your humiliating condition. And because I didn't really know where else to turn or what I could do to get this out there, I decided that my best bet for sharing my life-changing discovery was by putting up this website and giving away the natural method I'd used to as many other Americans as possible, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. I call my breakthrough method Erectile Dysfunction Protocol. It's the only all-natural and 100% proven method for rapidly and permanently curing your ED, while giving you back the power and vitality you thought you'd lost forever. Inside, you'll be given a full list of the different amino acids, enzymes, and proteins to be added to your diet. And you'll also be shown which foods and supplements contain these biological elements, all of which increase your blood flow and relax the vessels in your member. And you'll be told exactly how and when to combine them each day for the fastest results possible. What's great is that because there are just a few key organic compounds that I found to be wildly effective, you'll have tons of variety here. You can pick and choose combinations as you wish, and without anyone even knowing that you're secretly treating your ED. Inside the ED protocol, you will also get the full detail for how to modify the program to meet your specific needs. So that if you start getting erections too frequently, or if you don't have any ED issues, just want to enjoy fuller, more powerful erections and girth, you can easily adjust the program to a level that's right for you. This is 100% natural, 100% side effect free, and 100% proven to work. All you need is about $15 worth of common items you can already get at your grocery store. And not only do you get results in the next 24 to 48 hours, but they last for life. That's because once those vessels are repeatedly relaxed using the methods inside, they begin to stay relaxed naturally, without any help at all. Which means while I recommend you just keep using this program once you have it, basically really there's no reason not to, and better blood flow in your body is good for you anyway. Doing so is completely optional. You can just use it for 14 days and get fuller, better, and practically instant erections for the rest of your life. Imagine having the ability to achieve instant powerful erections on demand whenever you want. To never feel anxious or nervous about being intimate with your loved one again. To feel that overwhelming surge of confidence that comes from knowing you are a powerful, strong man. That's what 97,921 other guys just like you have already done. People like Aaron S. of Des Moines, Iowa, who says, "Hey Jason, just writing to thank you for making your ED protocol program available to the public. I know it was probably a bit embarrassing to put your name on this thing, but you seriously deserve a statue for this, man. Since you've been so honest with your struggles, I'll be really honest with mine. Before I found your website, it had been 3 years since my last erection. No joke. I tried ED medications, low T shots, you name it. My doctor said there was some kind of blockage down there, and that the only way to fix it was through an elective surgery, which would cost $20,000, and my insurance wouldn't cover it. I don't have that kind of money, and I thought I was going to be screwed. But that was before I discovered your guide. Within 4 days, I was getting multiple erections per day, and since then, I've never had a single problem getting it up. My doctor is amazed, but after I shared what you were doing, he said it made a lot of sense. He said that since your method was naturally relaxing those blood vessels, it was allowing the blood to flow in again. Well, anyway, I'm writing to tell anyone out there who's considering your program but who is still hesitant, do it now. Seriously, this is one of the greatest blessings in my life, and I'll be forever thankful." And Alan Lane of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who wrote to say, "Let me start off by saying that I don't even suffer from ED. I'm 60 years old, and I guess I've always been one of the lucky ones who could still stand at full attention when the time was right. So when a friend gave me a copy of your guide, I was mostly just trying it out for curiosity's sake. But wow, am I glad I did. It's one thing to have a normal erection, and quite another to experience an erection like the one following your plan will get you. I mean, it was like I had a pulsing power source down there. I don't want to gross you out, but it was just fuller, firmer, and longer lasting than anything I'd ever experienced. I also found that my sex drive increased dramatically as a result of this, and my girlfriend had been going nuts, constantly begging me for more. You're the man, Jason. Thanks." Now, give what ED protocol is, how incredibly effective it is, and the fact that it's already been proven to work by more than 97,000 other Americans just like you can probably understand why I was originally going to sell this guide for $299. When you think about it, that's around the cost for a month's supply of Viagra, Cialis, or any other ED drug that may help you in the short run, but that will never actually cure your ED. And those come with major, terrifying side effects like the ones you already saw listed. I know you would do a lot to regain your vitality and never feel anxiety or embarrassment when it comes to getting or maintaining erections again, but would you do it at the cost of heart disease, nerve disease, bleeding from the lungs, blood clots in the brain, chronic heart failure, seizures, diabetes, blindness, or depression? The risk for these ED drugs are incredibly high, as is their $2,000 per year or more price tag, especially as compared to a 100% natural cure for your ED that requires you to spend about $15 at the grocery store, and that's totally side effect free. $299 is also what it costs for just one single low T injection, which is a treatment that can help you with energy, muscle growth, and things like that, but which will also cost you more than $2,000 over the course of an entire treatment, while putting you at a significant risk for heart attacks and cancer, and which may soon be banned and impossible to gain access to anyway. Plus, as I already mentioned, scientists at Columbia University, one of the most prestigious schools in the world, have already proven that less than 5% of ED issues are related to low testosterone. Which means that even if you do get injection after injection of pure synthetic testosterone shoved into your body, the chances are they won't do anything for you anyway. So with all of that in mind, it should be clear why I think $299 for the ED protocol is an absolute steal. But while I like being paid for my work, this just isn't about money for me. I remember what it was like seeing my relationship become a living hell, to feel my wife and I drifting further and further apart, simply because there was no physical contact. I still remember the phone call, the humiliation, the realization that she was thinking about other men because I simply couldn't satisfy her, or be the man she deserved. It was the most awful feeling in the world, and something that no self-respecting man should ever have to experience. Which is why there's just no way in hell I could ask you to pay $299 for ED protocol. And why instead of even asking you to invest $199 or even just $99 for this proven guide that's already been used by more than 97,000 other Americans just like you, if you act today, and only if this website is still up, which may not be for too long, you can get the Erectile Dysfunction Protocol, the full food list, the full list of compounds and elements, the guide to combining them, the daily portion amounts, and everything else for nothing but a one-time investment of $39.95. To get started, simply click the Add to Order button you see below this video right now. Your purchase will be completely discreet. That button takes you to the secure checkout page I've had set up, which looks like this, where you'll enter your basic information. And then on the very next page, you'll gain instant access to the entire ED protocol program, the lists, the daily guides, and everything else. You can view the entire program on any computer, smartphone, or tablet, or download it, or even print out as many copies as you'd like to discreetly share it with your friends. It's completely yours, and you can be using it in as little as 2 minutes from now. Plus, to make your decision even more of a no-brainer, I'm also going to come out of my own pocket and give you a full 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee. Here's how it works. You just click the Add to Order button that's below this video, get everything that's included in this guide, and start your test drive today. You'll then have a full 2 months to evaluate the powerful, permanent, and instant erection-generating program I've created. Go through the whole program, follow the simple instructions that are inside, and I guarantee that you will be blown away by how immediate and full the erections you get are, and how you're able to achieve them on demand at the slightest touch. And if you're not happy with your small investment for any reason whatsoever, even if the program works beautifully but you're just having a bad day, all you have to do is send an email to the address I'll give you inside the guide, and I will immediately refund your entire purchase with 0 questions asked. So in other words, I'm going to take on all of the risk here, which means you have nothing to lose. ED protocol will change your life forever. It will heal the intimacy issues you may be struggling with. It will give you a surge of confidence like you wouldn't believe. It will make you feel like a full and complete man again. But if you're ready to get started, you really do need to act quickly. I know this might seem lame, but my wife is somewhat embarrassed by the fact that so many people are now using a program that I've put my name on. And even though she does understand how many men this is helping, how much good it's doing in the world, she's asked me to cap the total number of copies I give away to right over 100,000. I'll be honest, this is still up for discussion, but I do know that there's a lot of truth to the saying, happy wife, happy life, and that I don't want to butt heads with her here. Which means if you come back to this website in a week or 2 from now and you find that this presentation has been taken down, I'm sorry to say there simply won't be anything I can do for you. But why would you even wait or put this investment off anyway? You have absolutely no risk at all. Your results are guaranteed and you can totally cure your RD in less than 48 hours from right now. Ultimately, the choice is yours, but this video will be over in 15 seconds from now, so you do need to decide quickly. You can just leave this page and go on with your day. That's fine. But if you suffer from ED, what's going to change your life? Are you going to keep spending thousands of dollars per year on the drugs and medications that have hundreds of hidden but deadly side effects? Or try low-T injections that don't work for ED and that cost more than $2,000 for a session? Or will you simply keep struggling, keep feeling frustrated, and keep seeing your love life suffer? Because sorry, I'm not trying to be harsh here, but that's just the reality behind all of those decisions, which makes them not even real options at all. Try the ED protocol right now, completely risk-free. Within 48 hours, you will be getting the fullest, strongest erections for your life whenever you want, and without any drugs, weird Eastern herbs, or sketchy low-T treatments. The choice is yours, but you already know what you need to do. So click that Add to Order button below this presentation now. Take your free test drive. and I'll see you on the other side. This has been Jason. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Sincerely, Jason Long. Still here? That's no problem. I totally get it. A lot of people have questions after watching this presentation, especially because they find it so shocking that they can cure their AD without any medications or drugs whatsoever. To help clear up anything for you, what I'll do right now is go ahead and answer a few of the most common questions I get asked about ED protocol. Number 1. How exactly does this program work again? Well, like I mentioned, the whole key to getting and sustaining an erection is that the blood vessels in your penis are relaxed. When this happens, blood flows in, fills up your chambers, and you get hard. When you have ED, however, those vessels aren't relaxing like they're supposed to, and as a result, the blood can't get through, and you either have weak, less firm erections, or can't get fully erect at all. In fact, there are tons of enzymes, amino acids, proteins, and other organic chemicals that are found in all sorts of common foods and supplements that are available at the grocery store for about $15, and that will naturally relax the vessels inside your member and allow the blood to flow in. Once that happens, your ED is gone, and you can get erections whenever you want, almost as if you were a teen again. Number 2. So what's included inside the ED protocol program exactly? Inside the ED protocol, you'll get a detailed list of the different enzymes, amino acids, proteins, and other organic chemicals meant to help with your problem. More importantly, you'll also be shown a ton of different common foods and supplements that contain them, and I'll tell you how you can combine everything to rapidly get the results you want. You'll also be shown how to modify the whole program to a level that's right for you. This is important because a lot of guys find that once they've followed this guide for a few days, they actually get erections too often, and they need to chill out a bit. So I'll show you what to do if that happens, so that you have the perfect lever of arousal at all times. Number 3, how long does it normally take to get results? Generally, you'll notice your first powerful erection within 24 to 48 hours of starting this program. After that, you'll find that you're able to get hard on demand, and that those erections will last as long as you want them to. Number 4, one more time, what are the terms of that guarantee you mentioned? Simple. Get the ED protocol program today by clicking the Add to Order button you see below this screen. You'll get the food lists, the guide for combining everything, the daily portions, and everything else I've mentioned. Then you have a full 60 days to try out the program with absolutely zero risk. If for any reason it doesn't work like I've said it will, or you simply change your mind for no good reason at all, you just send me an email and I'll refund your entire investment with zero questions asked. So you have nothing to lose here. Number 5. Okay, I'm in. How do I get started? Easy. Just click that Add to Order button that's below this video screen. Then within 2 minutes, you'll have access to the entire program. You'll be able to view everything right from your computer, your smartphone, or your tablet. You'll also be able to download everything to your computer or print out copies and give them to your buddies. Number 6. Anything else I should know? One last thing I like to point out to people who are consider trying ED protocol is how discreet it is. Think about it. Instead of having to stand in line at the pharmacy counter to pick up your ED medications, or to have your wife know you're on those pills and judge you, you simply add a few common items to your diet in the specific way that I show inside this guide, and you get powerful and proven results for the rest of your life. Click the button below now and get access to the ED protocol in the next few seconds. I can't wait to hear your success story.